The election of Donald Trump as the 45th President of the United States cast a long shadow of uncertainty over the Caribbean, particularly for the Jamaican community. The vibrant and resilient Jamaican diaspora, which has long been an integral part of the American social fabric, found itself at a crossroads. His campaign rhetoric, often laced with anti-immigrant sentiment and protectionist economic policies, sparked anxiety and apprehension among Jamaicans both in the United States and back home. The community, which had always prided itself on its contributions to American society, now faced an era of unpredictability. For many, Trump's victory signaled a potential shift in U.S. policy that could have far-reaching consequences for immigration, economic ties, and the social fabric of the Jamaican diaspora. The fear was not just about policy changes, but also about the tone and tenor of the national conversation around immigrants. The Jamaican community in the United States, numbering over 900,000 individuals, represents a vibrant tapestry of culture, talent, and entrepreneurial spirit. From healthcare to education, from music to athletics, Jamaicans have made significant contributions to the American story. Their influence is seen in every corner of American life, from the arts to academia, from business to sports. Yet the incoming Trump administration brought with it a sense of unease, a feeling that the established order, the hard-won gains of integration and progress, could be at risk. The community's leaders and members alike were concerned about the potential rollback of policies that had supported their growth and integration. The uncertainty stemmed not only from Trump's words, but also from his actions during the early days of his presidency. His swift moves to implement controversial policies sent shockwaves through immigrant communities. Executive orders targeting immigration from Muslim-majority countries, coupled with promises to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, heightened fears of a broader crackdown on immigration, potentially impacting even those with legal status. The Jamaican community, with its deep-rooted connections and significant presence in the U.S., felt particularly vulnerable. For Jamaicans, many of whom have deep family ties spanning across borders, the prospect of stricter immigration enforcement struck a chord of fear and vulnerability. The community braced itself for potential changes, hoping to navigate the uncertain waters ahead while holding on to their cultural identity and contributions to American society. The Trump administration's stated goal of reducing legal immigration sent shockwaves through immigrant communities across the United States, including the Jamaican diaspora. The policies proposed and implemented during this period were seen as a direct threat to the stability and unity of many immigrant families. For the Jamaican community, which has long been an integral part of the American social fabric, these changes were particularly alarming. The uncertainty and fear that accompanied these policy shifts were palpable, as families worried about their futures and the futures of their loved ones. Proposals to limit family-based migration, often referred to as chain migration, raised concerns about the ability of Jamaican Americans to reunite with loved ones or sponsor family members seeking a better life in America. Family-based migration has been a cornerstone of U.S. immigration policy for decades, allowing families to stay together and support one another. For many Jamaican Americans, the idea of not being able to bring their family members to the U.S. was devastating. It meant that parents, siblings, and children could be separated by borders and bureaucratic red tape, making it difficult to maintain the close-knit family structures that are so important in Jamaican culture. For many Jamaicans, family ties are the bedrock of their identity and community, and the prospect of those ties being severed by restrictive policies fueled anxiety and despair. The strength of these family bonds cannot be overstated. They provide emotional support, financial assistance, and a sense of belonging. The thought of losing this support system was a source of great distress for many. Additionally, the Jamaican community in the U.S. often serves as a bridge to those back home, providing a lifeline of resources and opportunities. Restrictive immigration policies threaten to weaken this vital connection. Beyond family reunification, the Trump administration's efforts to curtail work visas, particularly those in the H-1B category, often utilized by skilled professionals, sent ripples of concern through the Jamaican community. The H-1B visa program has been a critical pathway for many skilled Jamaican professionals to contribute to the U.S. economy. These individuals bring a wealth of knowledge and expertise, filling crucial roles in industries such as technology, healthcare, and engineering. The potential reduction in available work visas created uncertainty for those already in the U.S. and for those aspiring to come. Jamaican nurses, doctors, engineers, and entrepreneurs have long contributed their skills and expertise to the American workforce, bolstering key industries and driving innovation. These professionals are not only vital to their respective fields, but also to the communities they serve. Jamaican healthcare workers, for example, have been on the front lines, providing essential services in hospitals and clinics across the country. Engineers and entrepreneurs from Jamaica have been instrumental in driving technological advancements and creating new business opportunities. Their contributions have enriched the American economy and society in countless ways. The potential for limitations on work visas threatened not only the economic prospects of individual Jamaicans, but also the vibrancy and diversity of the American workforce as a whole. A diverse workforce is a key driver of innovation and economic growth. The unique perspectives and skills that Jamaican professionals bring to the table help to foster creativity and problem-solving. Limiting their ability to work in the U.S. could have far-reaching consequences, not just for the individuals affected, but for the broader economy. It could lead to a loss of talent and a decrease in the cultural richness that makes the American workforce so dynamic. The Trump administration's focus on merit-based immigration, while seemingly appealing on the surface, raised concerns about potential biases and barriers within the system. Merit-based immigration policies prioritize individuals with certain skills, education levels, and work experience. While this approach aims to attract highly skilled immigrants, it can also create barriers for those who may not have had the same opportunities to acquire these qualifications. For many Jamaicans, this system could mean facing additional hurdles in their quest to build a better life in the U.S. It also raises questions about the fairness and inclusivity of the immigration process. A system that prioritizes education and skills, while seemingly objective, could inadvertently disadvantage individuals from developing countries like Jamaica, where access to quality education and economic opportunity can be limited. Many Jamaicans have had to overcome significant obstacles to achieve their goals. They have shown resilience and determination in the face of adversity. However, a merit-based system that does not take these challenges into account could unfairly penalize them. It is important to recognize the diverse experiences and backgrounds of immigrants, and to ensure that the immigration system is equitable and just. The fear among many Jamaicans was that a merit-based system, while touted as a way to attract the best and brightest, could become a tool for exclusion, further marginalizing those already facing systemic disadvantages. The Jamaican community, like many other immigrant communities, has contributed significantly to the cultural and economic fabric of the United States. It is crucial to ensure that immigration policies do not create unnecessary barriers or perpetuate inequalities. By recognizing the value of all immigrants, regardless of their background, the U.S. can continue to be a land of opportunity for all. The potential human cost of the Trump administration's immigration policies weighed heavily on the minds of many Jamaicans, both in the United States and back home. These policies, often seen as harsh and unyielding, created a sense of dread and uncertainty that permeated through communities. Families who had long established their lives in the U.S. suddenly found themselves grappling with the fear of being uprooted. The anxiety was palpable, as every news update brought with it the possibility of new, more stringent measures. Families faced the agonizing prospect of being torn apart, separated by borders and bureaucratic hurdles. The emotional strain was immense, as parents worried about the future of their children, and children feared losing their parents. The very fabric of family life was under threat, with the constant looming possibility of separation hanging over their heads like a dark cloud. The emotional toll of separation, the fear of living in a constant state of uncertainty, cast a long shadow over the lives of countless Jamaicans. The stress was not just emotional but also physical, as the constant worry took a toll on their health. Many found it difficult to focus on their daily lives, with the ever-present fear of deportation disrupting their sense of normalcy. For those already living in the United States, the fear of deportation, even for minor infractions, became a constant source of stress and anxiety. The uncertainty of their status meant that even a minor traffic violation could lead to devastating consequences. This fear was compounded by the stories of friends and neighbors who had been detained or deported, making the threat feel all the more real and immediate. The Trump administration's expansion of immigration enforcement, coupled with a more aggressive approach to deportations, created a climate of fear and mistrust within immigrant communities. Protests and community meetings became more frequent as people sought to voice their concerns and find ways to support each other. The sense of solidarity was strong, but so was the pervasive fear that any one of them could be next. Stories of families being separated, of individuals being uprooted from their homes and communities became all too common. These stories were not just statistics. They were real people with real lives, dreams, and aspirations. The impact of these separations was felt deeply, not just by those directly affected, but by the entire community that rallied around them. The impact of these policies extended far beyond the individuals directly affected. Businesses suffered as employees were detained or deported, and community centers saw a decline in attendance as people became more fearful of public gatherings. Churches, often a place of refuge and support, found themselves grappling with how to best support their congregants in these trying times. Entire communities felt the ripple effects as neighbors, friends, and colleagues faced the threat of deportation. The sense of community, which had always been a source of strength and support, was now tinged with fear and uncertainty. People leaned on each other more than ever, but the underlying anxiety was impossible to ignore. The fabric of community, the sense of shared identity and support that had long sustained the Jamaican diaspora, began to fray under the weight of uncertainty and fear. Cultural events that once brought joy and unity now served as stark reminders of the challenges they faced. The resilience of the community was tested, but their spirit remained unbroken as they continued to fight for their right to live and thrive in the country they had come to call home.